If you've been following me for a long time, yes, I have reviewed this movie before, but not with a really good camera and really nice sound. And with this, how much of an impact this movie had on me as a little kid, I felt like I really need to talk about it this Halloween time because this movie scarred me. The Ring stars Naomi Watts and is about a journalist must investigate a mysterious videotape which seems to cause the death of anyone who watches it. Released in 2002, directed by Gore Verbinski, yes, the guy who did Rango and a few of the Pirates movies, brought us a really classic horror remake. Yes, this movie is actually a remake of a movie called Ringu. I have not seen the original before you comment down below, so I am sorry, I have not watched it. But with this movie, let me just go ahead and tell you the story of how bad this movie scared me as a kid. So I was either 6, 7, just a little kid. I remember going into my living room trying to find my parents, and they weren't in the living room at this time. Well, on TV was The Ring, and of course, the scene that we all know from this movie was on, and I watched it. And from that point onward, I have always just had a very minor fear of static TV, and whenever I watch this movie, especially tonight in the dark because I'm a smart human being, I get very tinglied up and my heart pounds a little bit because of how much that one scene scares me. A lot of things in this movie is very creepy, but this movie literally was the definition of scared the crap out of me. Now what's really funny is this movie is actually really good. Now I will say, if you go back and look at the early 2000s of the horror movies, yes, a lot of people say the cinematography of Saw changed everything and made everything look blue and green and teal and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, you go back to 2002 and watch The Ring, I could argue this movie almost affected the horror genre at the time because this PG-13 horror movie was a huge hit, and everyone that watches this movie all agrees it's very creepy, and it's a really good movie. Naomi Watts is fantastic in this movie. She is great as this mom. She's trying to protect her child, and after she watches the videotape, she's doing her darndest to find out every detail in the history behind this tape, which does lead to Brian Cox as a really crazy farmer. But hey, that's all toward the end of this movie. But seriously, this movie just builds. It's like a 2-hour movie, and it's building and building because you never see Samara in full frontal until the end. Like, you don't really know what's happening because this whole movie is just a mystery. You're solving it. What is going on? What are this tape? What did it do? How did it get here? The opening scene to me is honestly a classic opening scene in the horror genre. I think a lot of people never really talk about one of the best horror openings, and it is The Ring. Usually that goes to like Scream and stuff. But for this movie, it is a really nice opening of these two girls watching the tape and then both of them going to die. And obviously during the funeral scene we see that little jump scare of her opening the closet and her head falling. It's one of the best jump scares ever. But again, this whole movie is building a mystery of Samara and this tape and the farm and horses and what's on the tape. And when Naomi Watts watches the tape and she gets a phone call and saying 7 days, which is just, it's just really creepy, and it's also interesting. The movie does a really good job making this mom character very vulnerable, and you want her to succeed with her very weird son that is like drawing black circle pictures of the ring, which is just an overall creepy image. But with all that said, let's just talk about the scene. The scene where we finally see Samara come out of the TV after 7 days. She's gonna come and kill this guy, and it is just, I hate thinking about it. I hate the thought of this one-shot staticky of a well, and then you see a hand come out, and then you see a girl with long black hair and a muddy dress just walking towards you. It is, I hate it. I hate it. And then when she's coming out of the TV, she's crawling and everything. And the score and the editing in this scene is really good stuff. Like, seriously. but it is honestly terrifying. And obviously you see her face, and it's just, you don't see her actually killing anybody, but that's what makes it even scarier. The thought of it and seeing her come out of the TV is just good enough to get you scared. And this movie affected me very much, and everyone that I've ever talked to that's seen it says it's a really good movie, and they scared the crap out of them. I'm one of those people. Like I said, Naomi Watts is great. The cinematography, the writing, the editing, the atmosphere, I mean, just the history of this movie, it really does a great job making a horror classic. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the original is a lot better. It probably is. It probably is. I've never seen Ringu, but I have seen The Ring, and I will say it is a classic horror movie that I am still kind of scared of. I'm going to give The Ring an A. Yeah, even with all that said, me being very scared of it, I'm going to give it a very good grade because it's a really good movie. It's got a good story, good characters, a really good horror icon in Samara, and this tape. And so it lives on in history. And it's kind of shocking we haven't got more movies because I know a couple years ago we had Rings, which is why I reviewed the movie at that time. But now I have reviewed it again, and I will probably not review it for a very long time or never again. Got it? Got it. Anyway, guys enjoyed this Halloween review, and I hope you guys join me for more in the very, very near future. Anyway, guys enjoyed the one, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.